Hello students, welcome in SST class. I hope you all are staying healthy and fine. Students, we will do chapter number 6, the coastal plains and the islands. So quickly take out SST book and take out chapter number 6, the coastal plains and the islands, which is on page number 38. Students, in this chapter we will study about the coastal plains, two types of plains, the western coastal plains and the eastern coastal plains, the islands, life in the western coastal plains and life in the eastern coastal plains. Students, in the first chapter of your book, we studied about the physical features of India like the northern mountains, the northern plains, the great Indian desert, the southern plateau, the coastal plains and the islands. So students, in this chapter we will study about one of the physical feature of India, that is the coastal plains of India and the islands. The coastal plains of India lie on either side of the peninsula, that is India, and is in middle of western and eastern coasts of India. Coastal plains are divided into the western coastal plains and the eastern coastal plains. Students, first let's have a look on the terms related to today's topic. First term is the coastal plains, an area along the sea or an ocean, example the Malabar coast. Second, the western coastal plains, the coastal plains towards the west. Third, the Konkan coast, the northern part of the western coastal plains. Fourth, the Malabar coast, the southern part of western coastal plains. Fifth, the eastern coastal plains, the coastal plains towards the east. Sixth, the northern Sircars, the northern part of eastern coastal plains. Seventh, the Coromandel coast, the southern part of the eastern coastal plains. Eighth, the island, the land surrounded by water on all sides, example Lakshadweep Island. Students, the meaning of plains is flat and fertile land, right? So let's start reading from book. The southern plateau is bounded by coastal plains on the west and the east. The coastal plain towards the west is called the western coastal plain, and that towards the east is called the eastern coastal plain. These two plains meet at Kanyakumari, the southernmost tip of the Indian mainland. Students, underline plateau in the first line and write uneven land with rocky surface. Students, these lines mean that the southern plateau is bounded by coastal plains on the west and the east, and plateau means uneven land with rocky surface. See, an area along the west side is known as western coastal plain and an area along the east side is known as eastern coastal plain. Students, the western coastal plains and the eastern coastal plains meet at Kanyakumari, and Kanyakumari is the southernmost tip of the Indian mainland, right? Let's proceed with the western coastal plain. Let's start reading. This plain lies between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It stretches from Gujarat in the north to Kanyakumari in the south. It is divided into three parts: the Gujarat coast in the north, the Konkan coast in the middle up to Goa, the Malabar coast in the south. Students, western coastal plain lies between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It extends from Gujarat in the north to Kanyakumari in the south. Students, the western coastal plain is divided into three parts: the Gujarat coast in the north, the Konkan coast in the middle up to Goa, and the Malabar coast in the south. Students, come on page number 39. Let's start reading the Eastern Coastal Plain. This plain lies between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. It stretches from West Bengal in the north to Tamil Nadu in the south. The Eastern Plain is divided into two parts, the northern Sircars and the Coromandel coast. Large deltas are formed by the rivers Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri along the eastern coast. Students, underline deltas and write triangular piece of land formed at the mouth of river. Students, the meaning of this paragraph is that the Eastern Coastal Plain lies between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. It extends from West Bengal in the north to Tamil Nadu in the south. Students, Western Coastal Plain is divided into three parts, but here the Eastern Coastal Plain is divided into two parts, the Northern Sircars and the Coromandel coast. Students, here large deltas are formed by the rivers like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. And the meaning of delta is triangular piece of land formed at the mouth of river. Now let's start reading islands. The islands which are closer to the Indian mainland in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal are a part of India. There are two groups of islands, one in the Bay of Bengal called the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the other called the Lakshadweep in the Arabian Sea. And the meaning of island is the land surrounded by water on all sides. Students, the islands which are closer to the Indian mainland in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal are a part of India. And there are two groups of islands, one in the Bay of Bengal called the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the other group of islands is called the Lakshadweep in the Arabian Sea. So students, with this only we end our today's topic. Today we did the meaning of coastal plain, the western coastal plain, the eastern coastal plain and the islands. Students, now your homework is to read today's topic and write terms on copy. Thank you.